Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing today? My name is Sam. This is Sam Daily Show. Today we have a special episode. We have Nathaniel Abbot here. We have a British man here, and we've also got a carpenter. Can I say that? Is that fair? Switch it to the Colton angle. Is that music still playing?
I didn't turn it off.
Oh. Is it copyright free? I mean, is it real?
Definitely not.
All right, so right now we're having some technical... You're going to turn that off right now! You're going to turn that off right now!
Oh, boy.
Okay, we're going to play it this way? We're going to play it this way? All right, well, let me tell you something about Colton. There's one thing that he really likes. It's plastic. In all of his food, he loves it. He likes to chew on it, gnaw on it. He even puts it in his lip like chewing tobacco, and he likes to it. So
we're on a fast road to children of men type situation. So I mean, I can't stop the train that's moving.
Look, I got to do something about it.
Gotta get it off.
If it goes over like 25 seconds, it's done.
Oh my gosh. Stream's down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, is we have Nathaniel Abbot in the building. We also have British man Max.
Max. Yeah.
He also goes by Monkey Max.
Monkey D Max.
Monkey D Max.
Yes.
And then his real name, not the carpenter.
Mike isn't that close enough at all.
Whose mic isn't close enough?
This guy.
Mine? Is it not? Do I sound good, Preston?
You're fine.
I'm fine.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Nathaniel Abbot, how are you?
Frankly, this is the sloppiest start to a live stream I've ever been a part of. This is quite something, I will say.
Okay. Well, you have to give me a little bit of a break. It's been 3 months.
It doesn't feel like we're live right now because no one acts like this when they're actually on a live stream.
I know, but that's the thing is that we just groove into it. Okay, it's just I get it. Can we start over?
No.
Start
You
over.
see, and normally I'm sitting in front of my laptop so I can actually see that we're live and it's like real, but I'm just looking at, like, this doesn't feel real right now.
No,
so.
it doesn't. I mean, we were having great conversation before, and then I had to get on here and just be like, "Hey, how you doing? This is and it just kind of."
Yeah, but that's supposed to be your bit. That's your
Yeah,
thing.
you're the
supposed to
guy.
be good at that.
I know.
You're the guy.
Well, the last time I did this, the level was like right here, and then we actually ended the stream early, and then went ahead and threw it away. So like,
Lovely.
this is supposed to be redemption. Ladies and gentlemen, tell
Yeah,
me
we're
how I'm
starting off
doing.
good. We're
Just,
starting
yeah,
off good.
Yeah, just send it into the chat.
What are we talking
If
about,
it's-
Sam?
Today we're going to be talking about where things are going. We're going to be talking about conservatism. We're going to talk about Christianity and how they link. Maybe a little bit of that. A little bit.
yeah,
Okay,
for
so
sure.
we're also going to talk about Nathaniel, what he's doing. Why do I keep calling you Nathaniel?
But
You know, that is my God-given name, so...
His good Christian
Wait,
name.
Anytime we're off air, I always call you Babe. So,
You always call me what?
Babe.
Babe?
Babe.
Anywho,
The 10-minute mark is really far from now, okay? Please just hold off.
Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Max. Is that
What the
last? How many weeks have you been here?
the three.
You've been here for 3 weeks. So
Yeehaw.
he's got some experience to
yeehaw,
share.
that's right.
He keeps singing the American national anthem. It's very off-putting.
I did that before I came to America. I just have a profound respect for the country.
That and the women.
Based
He is
take,
very
but-
kind to the women here.
They love us. They love us.
Oh, speaking of, do you want to mention the plan?
No. No.
It's kind of
Should I
too
say
late
it?
now. All potential suitors, he's 21 years old. We're taking anyone between the ages of 18 to 25. We wanna marry
225 for 6.
This handsome young British lad, so we can keep him here on this side of the pond so he doesn't have to go home to Blimey land, Limey, whatever. So, stand
I think
over
that's a
here.
curse word, and I said not
Blimey?
to curse in the first 5
Yeah,
minutes.
limey. That's very
Or
derogatory.
Limey.
I don't know.
Derogatory. Hey, bruv, isn't it? Anyway.
Well,
All right, Sam, let's get
it rolling. Okay, so we're
going
gonna kick us off with the first question to Badan, and that is, how'd you get here? What were you
How
doing?
did I get here?
Yeah.
I traveled.
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Great movie.
I've seen
Yeah.
it, Yes.
Well, funny enough, John Candy actually picked me up himself to take me here. So, yeah.
Okay, I lied. I didn't actually see that movie, so I don't know the reference.
Wow.
Can you fill me in?
So I don't remember what the other tall guy's name is, but John Candy is like one of the main characters of that
Steve
movie.
Martin.
Steve Martin.
Yeah.
they're very good comedic combo.
I know who Steve Martin is.
Yeah.
So John
So have you not
Candy
seen
and
this
I
movie?
drove on the wrong side of the expressway to get here.
Uh,
Colton's getting my
You're
jokes.
going the
Colton's
wrong
picking
way.
me up.
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Well, that's my first answer to your first question.
Well, my next question is over here to the Brit, and that is, what's the first movie you saw here?
It was Drive with Ryan Gosling.
No.
It
I'm
was-
saying here.
Oh, I was in your house.
Yes.
We saw the.
Wait. We could go back to that really quick. Is that this whole entire time that he's been here, he's only played the same exact song, same song. What is it?
It's a Real Hero from the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling.
And how many times did you listen to it on loop at that one home?
Well, I believe it was played by you, but we listened to it for at least an hour with a speaker.
The same song.
Neighbours luckily raised no concerns. However, it was incredibly based.
Which we're looking to break that world record. I don't know what it is. Preston, you're at the computer. Find out what the world record for listening to the same song on loop is, and we're gonna aim for that. We're gonna aim for that. Next question, but Dan, how are you feeling right now?
Again,
Does
I
it feel
feel
alive? Does it still?
strangely a little bit out of my element, despite the fact that I kind of do this more or less. This is a very interesting setup we got going on here.
I gotta keep moving the mic over here when I look over here, and then this way. Yeah, I know this is the new set we have. This is the first time that we've actually filmed here in this location. We moved everything, picked it up, and dropped it. And then actually, right before the show, we were running around to get this set up.
I made the thumbnail. Tell you what, I made the thumbnail.
Badan made the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Colton.
Colton did some carpentry to get this going.
I wish you could see the carpentry skills. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you did a good screw job right there. Yeah, that was. Max, he.
I picked up heavy boxes in the yard, you guys call it. And I moved them.
What do you call it?
He calls it the garden.
A garden, like a normal person.
Even if it's just grass.
Well, yeah, that's even more reason for it to be a garden.
How?
Well, if it was just like a concrete or. Then maybe it could be a yard.
You know, over here, garden kind of insinuates like flowers and that kind of stuff.
And green, like grass.
More than grass.
Yeah.
Grass is one thing. You can't have a one thing.
No, I think almost very specifically speaking, a garden needs to have something other than grass for it to be a garden.
Okay. I'll take this back to the people when I hop off across the pond and maybe get back to you. However, for now, it's garden.
No, it's not.
Splendid.
All right, next question.
Next question,
please.
right over here, back to the Brit, is what do you call a basement? Or do you even have a basement?
No, people don't really have basements in the UK, but they're called basements.
A cellar?
Well, there could be a cellar, but cellars generally aren't. Kind of a basement is...
Hey, get your face closer to the microphone.
Basements generally under the... my good person?
Why'd you lower your voice?
Good point. I'm good. Basements generally cover the entire under part of the house. However, I guess a cellar would be just a smaller area. We making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Distinction, yeah.
Yes. This is good. All right, next question. Colton, who cut your hair?
A guy named Conrad.
Conrad? How do you know Conrad?
He's my barber.
Yeah. How long he's been your barber?
Less than a year.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting. You know anything about... Was it Conrad?
Yeah.
You know anything about him that you want to share?
He plays in a punk alt rock band.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you play in a band too, don't you?
No.
Okay, then you play... Yeah, you do. Don't even give me this. You play drums in your worship band, right?
Oh yeah, at church. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful segue. So now we're going to talk about conservatism and Christianity. What do you feel about conservatism and Christianity, Nathaniel Abbot?
You know, typically when I'm presenting myself to the world, I try to appear as intelligent and articulate as possible. I feel like I'm fighting a very steep uphill battle right now. You're dropping me off a literal cliff. You want to talk about Christianity and conservatism. What do you want me to say?
That's a wide banner.
All right. Okay. So here's the deal. Is that I was talking to a libertarian, or I was talking to somebody from my church the other day, and they had shared with me that some news about them being a libertarian, and I didn't know how to take that. Because I always jump to the conclusion that anyone I speak to who is a part of the church is that they're also conservative. I went back, I watched like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. I watched John Doyle's video like 3 times, and like it has me like on this journey of like conservatism and Christianity. Conservatism, like really, what does Christianity look like? And I know we wanted this to have like but it's been I had to bring it up. And so I was beating my head against the wall, and I was trying to figure out why it is that they're a libertarian. So now I'm swinging it back over to you. And better question is can a libertarian be a Christian?
Well, Christianity is obviously inherently an authoritarian system of beliefs because God is the highest authority. So I think the biggest problem with any belief system, any political belief system as well, that assumes that you can have any structure with very limited authority is that it kind of goes against that idea very simply. And what I would say is any Christian can hold those two beliefs at the same time, obviously because cognitive dissonance is a very real thing. But I just don't think that they're putting those two ideas together. I would say that especially for anyone who considers themselves a Christian and also some form of anarchist, I just don't think that makes any sense. Because if you're going to acknowledge the true order of humanity and understand like how we've been designed, we've designed fundamentally with an authority mechanism. We will always seek authority in some way. We'll always seek competence. There will always be hierarchies. All of those things are very fundamental to our nature. So I just don't think that someone who's holding those beliefs, frankly, a lot of times they don't truly believe that. But if they do, they're holding two separate beliefs in a cognitive dissonance sense that are very much conflicting.
And that's kind of the conclusion that I came to. So now that we got your clip out of the way, we can go back to banter.
Thank you.
Yeah, so.
Thank you, Franco.
I would argue that cognitive dissonance does not exist. I keep looking for examples of it, but I just can't find it. I mean, how many of those tweets are we going to have of like some random leftist on Twitter saying something and then like completely, contradicting themselves like maybe max 4 months apart?
How often does that happen? It's probably happened once, and that was like set up intentionally.
No. I've seen at least like 24 examples of this.
Okay, I didn't know what angle you were approaching this from. I thought you were setting up like this never happens.
Are you on Twitter still?
Well, not okay. Amazing segue, Sam. To answer your question, I'm trying to take a step away from social media for the most part, in some sort of limited way. But of course, I'm.
Yeah, you're a YouTuber, right? That's how you make all of your money, right?
The most painful setups whatsoever. If you want to get exclusive content and more, and support me, BadanLaw.com. As you were saying, Sam, before just like jackhammering in a self-promotion opportunity for me, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, I am a YouTuber in terms of my online presence. I do also have a Twitter account that I am trying to take a break from because I want to practice what I preach, which is not becoming too obsessive with social media. I think in terms of the internet, it is something you should be on the internet but not of the internet. In the same way that a Christian should be in the world but not of it. And the distinction between being on the internet and being of the internet, I truly think, is the amount of energy and time you put into it. If it's something that's taking away from your actual life, then it becomes an issue. And frankly, for me, that's what it's felt like lately. So I'm taking a little bit of a step away while still, of course, doing as much as I can to work on content anyways. But again, because you just hammered in that self-promotion opportunity, I actually have a website. It's badanlaw.com. On there, I'm working to do a lot of cool things, very slowly, of course. But that's
yeah. But again, that's you make all of your money off of that, right? You don't do anything but make videos, right?
Oh! This is the again. He's setting this up very nicely. No, Sam, I don't only make money from videos. Again, practicing what I preach, I think you should always be someone of the world. And to answer your question, Sam, no, I actually work a manual labor job as well as making videos. So, of course, there's a lot of balancing act that goes with that. But I truly feel like that is the best way to approach what I like to do, which is making very real videos that talk about very real things that help people in a very real way. I don't talk about a lot of politics because I think for the average person, I don't really think most people need to care about this election or this policy or whatever. I just want to talk about the things that are very real to people. And I think the best way to do that is to live in the real world. So I think if I were to become a media person full time, that my art, as I refer to it as, which is my YouTube videos, would suffer because I'm not living in the real world. I
actually was going to send you this video, but I never did. I think I mentioned it, but it was like this guy who does these hunter-gatherer, you like it too, Colton, is that it's like a hunter-gatherer type video, that channel that he does, but he made a video that was really interesting. It like broke the third wall. Is it third wall?
Fourth wall.
Fourth wall? Fourth wall. Third wall is something completely different.
There is no third wall.
No, there's such thing as a third wall. No, this is this is my show, so there's a third.
I think the third wall is just like part of the show, Sam.
No, I think that you guys are wrong.
I mean, are you questioning the number system? Like, why are we ending up on 4 as being?
No. I know there's a fourth wall. That's the one I was thinking of right now.
In terms of,
I get the two confused.
It's a very literal joke that's existed for a long time. Like when you're on set, there's 3 walls, and if you break the 4th wall, it's the one that doesn't exist. It's the audience.
Yeah, it's looking at the camera.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
I know. Yeah, but the 3rd wall is something I can't think of it. Help me out here.
No, it's just like the 3rd wall of the
There's
set.
definitely a 3rd wall.
You are very ADHD. You were watching a video about.
So I was watching a video. I was watching a video where there was a pube on my desk. He was a hunter-gatherer video, right?
I'm regretting this.
And so he was talking about making the YouTube videos, but then also where he sits in a corner and he has his laptop open and he's editing the videos. He's, making sure the sound is all perfect, right? He's got SD cards. He also runs around the woods doing, archery and fire building, but then he has like this camera along with it. And so he took a deep dive into like this this contrast of living a hunter-gatherer life, but then also filming and editing these videos, which is his livelihood, right? And so then he took into account those 2 things, and then he proposed 4 things that you could do because we are hunter-gatherers. Is that he proposed 4 things that you could you could do to channel that, right? That hunter-gatherer, but then in your daily life of sitting at a cubicle or a desk or something. And one of those things was like just like playing with sticks, like taking a stick and like just swinging it around. Like you got to get out of this like bubble, right? This sitting at the desk just doing the accounting work is that like you have to do that or else you'll go insane, or what most Americans I think are doing is taking medication. Right.
Your advice is to play with a stick in the woods to escape modern life.
No, well,
no.
That sounds very much like a Liver King thing right now. I just want you to know.
See, you guys are doing it right now. You're breaking the 3rd wall.
Splendid.
No.
See, the 5-year-old Max enjoyed this at a pastime quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So much so that his mother gifted him a lightsaber.
You still have that?
Oh yeah, big time.
And the Legos that you play
How do
with?
you have something
big time? Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Do you want me to comment on?
Yes,
what you said there?
yes.
So I actually relate to that. My short spiff, if you will, in community college ended the day I was sitting in my biology class and we were literally going to play with beads or something like that in order to build chromosomes. It was some learning lesson that felt very childish. The only way I can describe the feeling I felt sitting in that class in a chair is that I wanted to run up a hill and scream, right? There was just like this kind of primal energy in me where I just felt so against my nature, sitting in a chair, sitting in this class, listening to some professor talk to me like I'm a child about the simplest concepts that I had already learned in high school for gen ed college classes. So,
and that still comes up.
Yeah,
it still comes up from time to time where you're just sitting there and then you're like,
well,
I'd like to scream at the top of my lungs right now.
Yeah, there's something to that. I think
No. I really would like to scream at the top of my lungs right now.
This is one of those times, folks.
I swear, God. I swear.
So there is a practice referred to as bioenergetics that does a lot of that, which is a lot of just primal movements and screaming, like simply flailing on the ground and screaming. The origins behind that is if you observe animals in the wild, let's say a gazelle after it's getting chased by a what's it called, a cheetah, right? Any prey animal, when it is under attack and then it somehow survives, like it gets away from the cheetah, it has this pent up energy from literally almost dying, and you will see it sit there and it'll shake. That's what the animal does. It's essentially shedding off all of that anxiety and energy it just got from almost dying, right? And that is energy that we're pretty much picking up in our day-to-day lives, sitting at a computer in your cubicle, making spreadsheets for your stupid corporation.
Yes.
And when you don't have that movement, when
you
you're
have to
not
have the fight or flight.
Yeah. When you don't have that kind of, it's what humans are experiencing, and this is a video I'm working on right now. It's going to be called something along the lines of the domestication of man. Is high level, an abundance of low level stress, which is the kind of stress that an animal experiences when it is being domesticated, right? We're not being chased by wild animals. We're not getting attacked by hordes of barbarians from faraway lands. We're sitting in a chair under blue lights staring at a computer screen, and that is a type of low-level stress that we as humans have never experienced before, and all of that gets very pent up. And if you don't have those primal movements to get rid of it, you will just slowly start to decay and break apart, like spiritually.
Yeah, that reminds me of Max. Yesterday, whenever you were looking at me and you said to me, I don't want to get on that roof.
That was the day before. In terms of the animal kingdom, I've always been very interested in the animal kingdom, specifically when it comes to the...
Come on, man. Come on. Do not shoehorn this in right now.
We're going to do it.
Do it.
We're going to do it. Grizzly bear versus silverback gorilla. Who you got?
It's not even a competition. How many times do I have to tell you today?
Is this is this really a thing?
It's a thing.
What's the grizzly bear versus the what?
I can't say that.
The silverback gorilla.
I've never a silverback gorilla.
Yeah, you know the big guy, the alpha male.
I told you we have to wait like 10 minutes before saying anything racist or any cursing,
It's
anything
been
like
well
that.
over 10 minutes, fellas.
It's been over 10 minutes.
He's
Yeah,
talking
it's
about
over 10
an actual
minutes.
gorilla.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
What?
The animal. He's talking about an actual gorilla.
Yeah.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
I sent this link to like all of my followers, and this is how you.
What?
It's his fault. It's this guy's fault.
No,
Was there an analysis?
Was
there an analysis?
Well, here's the thing is that he comes over here. He's from England, and so like he says things that
They
Oh
don't
my
make
God,
sense, and they sound funny. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Real.
Yeah. Like you said, what was the word that you said around my mother?
I said
It starts with an S.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It wasn't an S bomb. However, it sounded like one.
What'd you
because I've got
say?
a funny voice. I actually cannot remember.
I think it was. Oh, it was shirt.
Shirt. That was it. It was shirt. And yeah,
I hear it now.
they didn't
Yeah.
like it. They didn't like it.
Well, he said that in the first thing that
Was
I
she
thought
hard
to
of
myself
hearing?
was- What's that?
Oh
Your
no,
mother.
she was fully understanding. Sam was gaslighting. But I travelled across the Atlantic Ocean to seek answers. Specifically about the silverback gorilla and the grizzly.
Yeah,
bear.
I'm glad you went
God.
back to that because we didn't ever. What do you think of it? Like, which one is gonna win?
Sam, what you need bullet points, my guy,
What do you-
to approach this because you are very, very ADHD and you'll pick up on something and just go running. Similarly to a gazelle.
Well,
that's
we're gonna
being
go
chased
back to it.
by a cheetah or the gorilla as it's running away from the grizzly bear that's going to lose to. To answer your question.
Absolutely.
So the grizzly
without a
wins.
doubt.
Okay.
If it
This
could
is
even
how-
run
this is
away,
how you gotta flow
if
it
it
all
doesn't
back
get its
together.
See, I
throat
agree that the
slashed
grizzly-
by a grizzly bear.
I agree that the grizzly bear wins, but I feel that gorilla fan
why?
is an incredibly large community.
How about this, Preston? Can we get a Google search on how fast a grizzly bear runs? Because I'm pretty sure it's north of 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, no,
Oh, they're fast.
They run
They're
pretty
fast.
quickly, but Dan, you said something earlier about how we start shaking to start feeling better. So is that why I do the stanky leg every morning?
Regret.
Honestly, we were even thinking about this. We should have put it to vote, but we were thinking, should we give Preston a microphone today? Should we get him a camera? Should we even include him? And here he is. That's a
No,
good.
I said it funny, but I'm serious. Like, when you start just spazzing out when you just
I know
wake
what you
up in the
mean.
morning.
I know what you mean.
No.
I don't know. I don't know what you
mean.
I don't know what that
As a
means.
fellow mentally challenged person, when you get out of bed and you do that.
Oh my gosh! So he makes fun of old people. He's making fun of, and now
Old
you're
people.
mentally challenged people.
Old people.
See what I
My
mean?
name is on this, man.
Like, they're doing something
my
different.
face is in the
They put
thumbnail. I
food.
made that thumbnail.
They
too.
put food. In, what's that?
I made the thumbnail. Put my face in it just for all of this.
Yeah.
Was this meant to be a quality video?
What's that?
No.
Was this
no
meant to
way.
be a good video?
I didn't. I know.
Okay,
No. We
I'm
threw
happy
this
then.
together tonight.
splendid.
Yeah. Did you?
I
Were
shouldn't
you,
even
gonna,
be
were
here.
you thinking that this is gonna be a good
No.
video?
I just thought you'd stay a little bit more on top. I'm just not sure what's going on, man.
So I was.
This implies the existence of a topic.
Wait. Were you thinking that I was different on camera than off camera?
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe just a
Maybe
little
just
bit.
a touch, like a little bit more refined.
Oh.
Have you ever watched any of
Well,
your
so
shows
remember-
before?
I have.
You what?
I asked if you'd watched any of your shows before.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
You had?
Yeah. I mean, I just expected I don't know.
Don't meet your heroes, kids.
Well, how should it go? You want to trade me seats?
No, do you want to trade seats?
Let's go.
Does this count as
The Badan Daily Show?
Is this the bit? Is this the current bit?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. It's in the right position for you.
Okay.
You're about that height.
This is warm.
I know. I've been farting it.
Are you like a substitute teacher now?
Yeah. I'm gonna be the cool substitute teacher. I'm not gonna write your names down if you misbehave in my class. What were we talking about before we got?
We were talking about Preston shaking every time he wakes up.
Do you shake every single time you wake up?
Not every time, but occasionally I'll just do like the spaz thing. You know,
You
it's
have
like how I stretch.
Are you just stretching, or do you actually have a muscle spasm in your leg? Because those are two different things.
It's kind of like a muscle spasm, but it's also like I'm stretching, and I'll just do kind of a stanky leg and kind of spaz out a bit.
Because I'm pretty sure the muscle spasm thing, which is very similar to like a cramp, is actually like a potassium calcium issue. So you might be minerally deficient.
Without a doubt.
That's a strong possibility. But if you're just stretching in the morning, that's what everybody does.
Could just be deficient, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a stretch.
Speaking of being deficient, do you remember when the British soldiers came across soldiers came across the Atlantic Ocean? What were they eating, Max, to keep themselves from getting scurvy?
I feel you know the answer.
I think it's probably Vietnamese people.
I think it was limes. Is that like a...
You know, I'm in the position of power. I have the desk. I can just pass a judgmental glance in whatever direction I want.
I get that, but you asked a simple question, and
Do you consider that a simple answer, Sam?
I heard it on a podcast that Vietnamese people taste good.
What?
Are you promoting cannibalism right now?
No, I'm not. No. I'm just saying, like,
Maybe I didn't watch enough episodes of the Sam Daily Show.
Yeah. Okay. So since you diagnosed the deal with what's that? Yeah.
You need to be closer to your microphone. That's what he's saying.
Okay. So since we diagnosed Preston's problems, can you diagnose the problem that we have right here? This did I do something
tension.
wrong?
It's called fetal alcohol syndrome.
So what we have, per the thumbnail, a very chaotic set of gentlemen here. 5, including Preston over there, managing all of the
He's got a
cameras and
nickname
stuff.
that we call him.
So
What is it?
Preston, what's your nickname?
You're cutting me off right now, my guy.
I'm the guest of the show. I could do that, right?
Okay, so point being is there needs to be some sort of like in-game leader here that's deciding the direction of the conversation. And for so far, I'm not making enough eye contact.
You need to just take
which I need to do because it's my show. Because I'm not looking back and forth with these ruffians I have talking to me right now.
Rapscallions.
Swamp butts.
What we need is some
Run
in-game
in thy
leadership
pockets.
to decide. Right, yo, mate, I'll be having that. We need to have some sort of direction here. What was a topic of conversation you wanted to take on tonight?
Well, what's Christianity and conservatism?
Yeah, so you opened that up.
But then I tried to segue to like what you do whenever you're not doing YouTube. But then you were like,
how does that relate to the Christianity?
No, that's not what I said. But we got sidetracked.
You're talking over Colton.
Sorry about that. Nothing personal. As you were saying, would you like to segue back to that?
Huh?
Would you like to segue back to that initial topic?
I was asking because, like, what did I say? I said, hey, I want you to come straight here. I want you to come straight here. I don't care what you look like. Like,
yeah. So I'm a big proponent, as I said, I'm going to say it again.
You got to look at the camera.
That in order to be effective in a political space, right, in order to do whatever your purpose is, you need to be living in the real world. There's obviously a very strong disconnect that career politicians have with regular people, which is, why you can get them a little gotcha of asking them how much a gallon of milk costs. Because these are people that are making decisions for the entirety of the nation, but they don't know what it's like to be a normal person and drive their own car and buy their own groceries.
Like Hillary, whenever she went to go visit those people in the apartments. Have you seen that picture? It's a real famous picture.
Oh yeah, she walks into like an average middle class home, and she doesn't like she's never
terrified.
seen a kitchen before.
Like disgusting.
In a regular person's home. Yeah.
And yet all of these people worship her.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's so much the case any day. But to answer your question, Sam, I came right here from doing manual labor, which is something that I do for about 50 hours, probably a week. I don't spend nearly as much time sitting in front of a computer as I do digging ditches and that kind of stuff. So I think so far that it's kept me very grounded, and is part of the reason that I believe I have a track record for not really missing in my videos. I don't think I say anything that people don't really resonate with, because as I said before,
you're a politician.
That's as a politician, that's the issue you're going to have. Again, I am of the opinion that though we have a lot of really good, I'm looking down too much. Though we have a lot of really good, intelligent guys who are going into that career politician route, and those guys, I do commend them for that. The ones who are doing that in a Christ-centered way, that's a very good thing. But I would say that those guys still need to find a way to ground themselves regardless, which is why going to the gym is a very important thing. If you're not physically moving your body, you are going to be stupid. You cannot, to be mentally healthy, I've said it before, you cannot be mentally healthy without being physically healthy.
So that's what we're going to talk about, is essentially that there are so many people who just do absolutely nothing, but they just sit on their ass and they don't do anything. All they do is they sit on their ass and they play video games all damn day long, and that pisses me off. Because I think that men, and I think it's a lot of men. I'm not pointing the finger at the ladies right now. Once maybe I get to 35 and I'm still single, then I'm gonna like turn into, what's that guy that hates all the women?
You talking about? I don't want to say his name.
You don't want to say his name?
I'm not gonna say his name
on YouTube like that. You can't say that name. It's Jordan Peterson, right?
Oh,
he's married and has children.
Going.
Oh, my bad. I broke the third wall again. So what I'm saying,
I don't know what the third wall is.
He's just.
We're getting on track. See, I'm in the captain's chair. We're getting on track.
So
let's go.
What was I saying again?
You were saying that. Well, first off, you're going to start hitting women if you're still single at 35. That's a very important point. He's a bachelor.
But you're going to put it out there for Max, but not for me.
I just did. What are you talking about?
All right, he just did. So what we were talking about is young men today. That's what we want to talk about, is young men today. That was weird. I looked in the camera too.
I don't understand how so many young men have so much time to waste playing video games, for starters. I made a video about that very recently, and it received a lot of criticism. It was a very controversial video, considering that in the online space that we occupy, being a gamer is sort of an identity. Frankly, those kind of hobbies, those like non-hobbies, which would be playing video games, watching Netflix, watching TV shows, scrolling the internet.
Can you push your hair to the you got the shadow. Yeah, like the shadow is on. Thanks.
Those are unproductive behaviors that'll not just waste your time, but also take away your essence as a man, because frankly, your entire youth should be spent acquiring skills that are then useful later in life. Even if you don't have any of those skills because you spent all of that time throwing it away into the wind and never getting anything out of it, that's where you get these men. And I was just having a phone conversation earlier today where all they know how to do is make spreadsheets for Global Homo Corp, and they don't know how to do anything else. So if a pipe broke in their house, they don't know how to find the water shut off, right?
Yeah.
If a breaker tripped in their house, they don't know how to go to the breaker box and flick it back on.
If the AC unit went out, they wouldn't know how to flick the fuse or even change the compressor. Oh wait, you can't change the compressor because you'll just have to throw it out. More tips like this on Sam Care YouTube channel. Go ahead and check it out. Subscribe, comment.
When's the last time you've posted on that YouTube channel?
It's been about a year and a half.
Okay.
You know, as much as I respected that video, I was reliably informed that roughly an hour after its airing, you were caught playing Team Fortress 2 on the Steam.
It's not true. It's not true.
You know, I have my sources.
Who's your source?
Jewish fellow by the name of Shrimp.
I don't even have. I have not had.
Hold on. He's nearly hit every single one. What is it called whenever you don't like old people?
Ageism.
No, it's not that.
So I made it. To address that point. I have not had Steam downloaded on my computer in probably about a year now. I don't keep it downloaded on my computer. I don't keep the app downloaded on my phone. I don't keep any games downloaded on my computer or my phone. I have made it clear in that video, and I will restate in case there's any misunderstandings, that I am not against. I'm not for abolishing all video game playing whatsoever. If you just happen to be in an apartment with Red Eagle Politics and King Nub, you better play some Mario Kart. But
look, as long
what you're saying is he peddles falsehoods.
What I'm not saying he's doing so intentionally. The point I'm trying to make is that you need to acknowledge that when you're playing video games, that video games is a hobby in the same way that binge drinking is a hobby, in the sense that it's going to have carryover effects to your day-to-day life. You're not just going to stop. In the same way you don't just stop drinking and then you're all back to normal, you don't just stop playing video games and you're back to normal. I'm not saying you should never, ever do it, but it should not be a go-to recreational activity. If it's an event and you're with your friends, great. But that's it, frankly. And that is coming from someone who I made the claim in the video. I don't know how to tally up all of the hours because Minecraft doesn't record them. But I swear I played like 3,000 hours of Minecraft.
You want to talk about something that does record? Is World of Warcraft. I actually did the math whenever I was 21. I did the math and found out that it was something like 2% of my life, 1% of my life. I think it was 1% of my life that I spent playing World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
most young guys have probably spent far longer than that by 21 these days. I certainly have. So.
Yeah.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
I know, yeah.
Big time.
You're always streaming. You always going around killing hookers.
Oh God.
Point being,
He's playing GTA. There should be context that is given. What? That's what you...
Point being is, in 10 years, we're going to have a generation of pretty much useless men who don't know how to do very simple things. One, because their dads aren't really teaching them. Two, because they've wasted all of their time and youth that they should be learning actual skills. You know, kids these days, they don't even play video games with each other. They'll sit in their own separate homes and, like, play online with each other. Like, even back in the day when I played video games with my friends, I'd have to go over to his house and we'd have to find a way to share the 4 controllers with the 6 of us, or whatever the number is, right? And then you gotta figure it out. Like, does the losers get out? You gotta figure out what, to balance it. But kids don't even have to do that anymore. They'll just play Fortnite online with each other from a distance. So because they're not having that unstructured play, they're not learning the basic social skills that you and I and everyone else have that get them through their everyday to day. So we're going to have a whole generation of useless people who don't know how to communicate or deal with anybody. Same thing with iPads. We have kids that are watching Coco Melon starting at like
you know what's crazy?
1.5.
What's crazy is that, I I like dark humor. So that killing hookers thing, I thought it was funny. You guys didn't. But no. Hear me out. This is real. Is that, like, what you just said, like, offended like a massive majority of those young men who are playing video games, right? Like, kind of stung them a little bit. And then me coming out and making a dark humorous joke of killing hookers on GTA, I too have offended quite a few. I mean, am I mistaken that how many girls jump to OnlyFans immediately after high school? Is there a number out there?
I don't think you're going to be able to find that number, but
there's no number, but it's definitely pushed as like, oh, it's a great way to make money.
But no. What we're going at is where are things getting to, right? And so, like, you're bringing up where young men they're going to be. Where I see it is essentially they're going to be in the meta universe. Is that they're going to have the goggles on and they're going to have these all hooked up. I mean, it's going to be like the Matrix. Is that you're going to be able to feel these things. You won't be able to feel the death and Call of Duty or whatever, but you're going to feel like some kind of like
those are already a thing, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. So there's already those things happening, right? Is that they're going to feel like just a pulsating shot in the chest or something like that, and then you respawn, whatever, right? And so I see that, but then you take the conclusion of where young women are going as well, and so we're going to have like this hooked up young men, and then Have you seen Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Have you seen like the first season where it is they're all riding bikes and like that's just all they do, and then they go back to their little pod?
Yeah.
And like the women are aspiring to be like the next American Idol, and then like the men are like aspiring to be like on the kicked in the nuts. Not kicked in the nuts. That's Idiocracy. But they're aspiring to be on that stupid show where they like jump on the blobs and they bounce and whatnot. It's like comedy. Is there anywhere where I'm going with this?
I think so. The point. Okay, so
the point I'm making is that like that's something that concerns me, is that like I have to stop myself short. I have to stop myself like from thinking that, because if I
No, I'm right there with you. There's a whole section of our country, at the very least. You know, we're not going to speculate about the world. A very large portion of the country that will just devolve into more depravity and uselessness and video games and surreal reality outside of their own human bodies. But there is a very persistent and strong undercurrent of reactionary, focused young Christian people that is growing more and more. So no doomer pills, okay? It does get better.
I guess what I was doing is that whenever I was saying that, is that I was looking to segue away from that, because as you were talking about that, I'm thinking of like the extremes of those things, and I have to like pull myself back and then like look at where we're at right now. Like where's the good? Where's the white pill?
Well, like, could we perhaps start by potentially providing a solution? How would you say young men escape this?
Escape what's in particular?
The terminally online, unable to do manual skills around the house.
Well, one caveat I put at the very beginning of the video games videos, I specifically said this is a video for people who feel already that they are spending too much time playing video games. And if that's not you, just click off the video, because what I didn't want is people hate watching the video and then leaving just comments and being super unproductive. Right off the bat, there is
that's where we're different.
Right off the bat, like what that is essentially a litmus test to say, okay, well, if you do not have the mental bandwidth and really the fortitude to take on an issue such as, oh, did I just waste the last 4 or 5 years of my life, right? If you don't have that, chances are you're just too far gone, right? So what we need to do is not waste our resources on trying to convert those people, because once you have spent the better part of a decade living in a certain degenerate, sinful lifestyle, there is going to be so much ego built up in that you're not going to want to walk away from it. Especially when those things become your identity, right? Like if gaming becomes your identity and you're going to take a step away from that because that's what you need to do, you are going to have to sever a piece of yourself off to do so. And that's a very painful thing. So it's really a question of whether or not anyone, like these kids, are going to be able to do so. Because if they're not, then it's just really too bad. Well,
I don't think there's anybody that's too far gone. But with that, granted, there are people that will become the NPC, society, dream person. But there are people who could get closer to the bottom of the barrel and then realize that there's something wrong, whether it's just being terminally online or addiction, whatever that is. So nobody's too far gone, but they're not there yet. They may never get there, but they're not there yet. And there's value in at least speaking a word to these people, planting a seed to get them to some point of realization, even if something you said affects them, 5 years down the road, which can happen. You can have that effect on a person without really realizing it. But you're right about not putting too much effort into it, because you can't save these people. They're not going to change unless they want to change.
Yeah, I also, again, another video I made, was titled "The Only One Who Can Save You Is You," right? Which immediately people gave me like a really weird set of criticisms. Like, well, actually, the only one who can save you is God. It's like, yes, but just watch the video, right? Is what I had to say. But point being is, at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that has to make that change. And I'm also, to tie into that point, I'm of the opinion with all things is that you cannot have a certain level of you cannot hate these people, you cannot have contempt for them. You need to have compassion, because that's not, again, if you're being hateful in your speech, you're not going to bring them out of it, of course. And like you said, you should always give them at least a passing word. You should never be silent if you think that you need to say something. But know that there's only so much that you can do, and after that, they're going to have to take that charge themselves. You're the only one that can put down the phone. You're the only one that can put down the game controller. You're the only one who, as I said in the video, can push away the Logitech gaming mouse when you're about to click on a bad website. It all comes down to you. Pray for the strength, but you're the one who's got to do it.
Yeah, never pass up on the word of truth and love, and pray for the person after the fact. Keep a prayer journal, honestly, and just write this person's name down, and pray for them whenever you get the chance. Prayer is a powerful tool that we hold in our tool chest. Yeah,
and it's really something special when you see it work in your life. Mm-hmm. That's something very, very special. And I think that's a big reason why so many people, maybe so many modern bugmen kind of people, stay away from or don't like Christianity, because they have such a marvelized version of what spirituality is supposed to look like, right? They want to see like you cast a magic spell like in Harry Potter, and there's a big flash of light and something happens. Mm-hmm. But and
then everybody walks out and they're Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
That was somebody had I spoken to him, and it was a really cool opportunity to say that one-liner. Is that they were saying, well, I don't like people who go to church because they're all pricks, or like they're all like goody two shoes. They're hypocrites, and they're sinners is practically what they were saying. And I said, well, the interesting part about that is that everybody who goes to church is a sinner. Is that everybody who goes to church not everybody who goes to church acknowledges they're a sinner, but they're a sinner. Right? And so after I said that, it was like a week later, and Homeboy came to church with us, which was pretty dope. You might get to meet him, Max.
Splendid. Is he there tomorrow?
What's that?
Is he there tomorrow?
Preston, we need to hit him up and see if he's... I don't know if he wants me to say his name on air or anything like that, but Preston needs to hit him up and see if he's going to be there. Yep, I got the thumbs up. He's going to hit him up. Can I just say how phenomenal of a job you're doing? Like you're killing it. I just realized the new concept here of Sam Daly Show is that what happens is that I just absolutely fumble the bag at the beginning of the show. I have a guest here, and then they just take over. Right? So the next person who the guest is that they sit in this hot seat. They watch me absolutely just, do what I do. And then I say, okay, well, you go ahead and take over the show.
You just need a little bit more structure and practice.
Like you said, bullet points. That's all it takes.
But the thing is,
like
I don't think
one sheet.
You got a beautiful desk. You could have the documents right in front of you, like Alex Jones. Shout out.
Oh,
I can't even say that.
That's it.
Can I not say that?
Cut the stream.
Can I not say that? Is that the world we live in?
Yeah, I know, right?
No, but is that actually a problem?
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Okay. There's
You
so
just
much. Seriously, that's one of the most frustrating parts.
You can only speak of him disparagingly.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's the most frustrating part about trying to start a YouTube channel now is that there's words that I have to skirt around because I don't want to get the channel shut down early. I see a lot of potential in what's going on here, and so it's not just like clearly Sam Daly Show isn't making guap, right? We would like to move to that point where I'm hopefully able to help others feed their families and whatnot, right? That's why I wanted to go to the business owner side of things is to give others the opportunity to do what they love, but then also they can have a livelihood that feeds their family, right? But in sitting in that hot seat is that there are some things that you can't say. Now you can say the things that I've said so far, and it's fine. But there are names you can't say. There are words you can't say, and you have to skirt around that. And it sucks that we live in a time where, you can say
we have to be
Hooker,
better than the people that we oppose. Honestly, we have to be smarter. We have to be more articulate. We have to be able to say what we're trying to say without necessarily using these words that they've banned and forbidden us from speaking. But we're totally capable of it because we're smarter, more humble, more handsome. We're never wrong, literally.
Well, honestly, my ego was shot after he took my chair, but then after you called me handsome,
The handsome and strong, never wrong. That's us.
And
True.
And
It's
also,
the
were you-
handsome and strong.
Were you talking about Max when you said handsome too?
I think we
He's
were.
sitting
Speaking of ladies 18 to 25.
Hey.
Do you like an English accent?
Marvelous,
I know you. We
marvelous.
know you do.
What a segue.
If I may to jump on that point, one thing I used to do in my videos when I was talking about that certain big thing that happened for a very long time is I would say cope cooties, which if you're in the know, you know what that means. But I avoided the naughty no words that would of course get the videos demonetized.
Cope cooties. What's that?
Look, man.
Just spell
look,
it out.
Look.
Isn't that sad? We're at a time where you got to spell
No.
truly live in
I
a
just
Like,
society.
no.
The
do you
coos,
realize-
don't
come
tell me
on.
to say it just to prove the point.
Okay, I know, but do you realize we're in a time right now where YouTube believes that people are so stupid, that you are so moronic, that you can't handle certain words and certain phrases.
We're not
right?
stupid to them. They are literally trying to socially engineer people to think a certain way.
They're
But
trying
what
to
I'm
make
saying
us
though is that they
stupid.
think that
Trying
you're
to
so
make us
stupid that, you know, I had a conversation with the guy.
I feel everyone said stupid. I've not had a chance to say stupid. I say it in a funny voice. Stupid. Continue.
There we
Well,
go.
we were
Thank you.
talking
No
about
Thank you very
SH
much,
in it.
Max.
There's no SH.
We were talking
He
about. We're
found
talking
one.
about
Just like how he finds a U in the word color. Don't ask me how.
we were talking about Facebook neighbor.
Yes.
Yes, and he was. We were. What were we talking about?
He's a young fellow. He works at Facebook, for context, in the advertisement group, I believe. So
Yeah, I'd ask you.
he
I'd
helps
ask you
with
not to say his name, but I know you
I
forgot his
don't
name.
know his name.
He forgets everybody's
I'm
name.
too fixated on the current thing to remember names.
Fair.
So
Right, to go back to this point, though,
Thank you.
it's funnier and we're cooler than everybody else because we have to come up with cool catchphrases that people instantly recognize. That's what good marketing is. People that can come up with something that catches on like this and people recognize it. So he can say cope cooties and everyone knows what the heck he's talking about it. We're just better. We really are.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Can someone describe it to me, please?
It's the flu.
Wait, he really said it, but Dan, you smiled. You're like, that's such a good segue to Sam's business.
I was literally going to say, speaking of catchphrases, imagine if you had a catchphrase on a bar of soap. What if you went to samdailyshow.com to get your Sam Daily...
It's in the box right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's made out of all natural ingredients. I am, just by the way...
What
you're-
ingredients?
Smells good.
It's made of.
Okay.
No,
quick-
don't name them. Just did 3 ingredients, and it's all natural. That's all you gotta say.
Quick segue before
Yeah?
we return back
I thought you were
to
gonna
this
go to
point.
Let's Go Brandon Christmas lights, by the
Quick
way.
question.
But, okay.
He wants to talk. This is important. Go ahead.
Quick point. But chances are your soap, body wash, and shampoo, all of that is killing you and taking your hair out. So there's a fly in here. Do some research on that. But an important point that I'd like to return to that we kind of skated around. Given the tumultuous nature of online media and politics and the fact that you can just be a regular old good kind of person and the wrong journalist can write a hit piece about you and get you fired from your job, or you can say the wrong word and get your YouTube channel, which maybe is your livelihood, demonetized and deleted. It is very important that along with living in the real world, that you create a way for yourself in the real world. I think that even if you have a tech job, even if you are making money online, I think you should have a real tangible skill, a real tangible trade, so that you are uncancelable. Because you can be uncancelable in the sense that, you know, no matter what they do, they can't take you off the internet. But if at the end of the day you get canceled from the internet and you just say, oh, well, I know how to be an electrician, I know how to set concrete, right? I know how to do these very real things. Like, they can't do anything to you, because if we can create the communities that we'd like to create and have those real things, and you can provide people with a real service, there's really nothing they can do to you. At least that's my opinion.
My father always said, have a trade job to fall back on, because everyone needs the trades. Because we live in a society where these people play video games endlessly and then all they know how to do is a spreadsheet, people need people like me to install furniture and do their plumbing and fix their electricity, build a freaking shelf in their basement because they couldn't
Cut their lawn, maybe. Well, that
so true.
What you will notice too is a lot of the work I imagine that you do, Colton. Of course, you do a lot of serious technical work, but I imagine there's definitely jobs that you do where, like, just any handy person could do this. But
I could not tell you the number of times people tell me, "Oh, I could never do that," and it's like the simple. You could watch a 10-minute YouTube video and do it to perfection, but people just are incapable of even getting to that point.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I really believe that there is dexterity that you are looking past.
well,
Actually being
I'm
able
talking
to
about literally.
use-
I put a 2x4 and plywood shelf together, like this table over here, for a guy.
That Preston's
he,
using.
He was amazed. He could never have done it himself. He said.
Well, and that's the point. Not to diminish the actual skill that you have, but a lot of what tradesmen do these days are the simple day-to-day tasks that regular people used to know how to do. But when you've never been working with your hands at any point in your life, when you go right from daycare to the public school system that are now getting rid of shop classes and that kind of stuff, which is not enough. You can't just have a shop class and
They're
be ready for the
getting rid
world.
of them?
Well, I never had shop class in high school. That's not really the point. And then you go to college and you spend all this time like in academia, in like an intellectual field, and you never actually work on anything for yourself. You don't know how to do them.
It's the classic. Why don't we learn about taxes? You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a reason for it. Obviously, we don't need to get into that necessarily, but very simply, and people have been making this point for a long time. In like 10 to 20 years, tradesmen are going to be able to name their price because no one's going to know how to do anything because no one's teaching them how to do anything.
And then even the really more skilled trades, like I know a guy who is a tile worker, and he's phenomenal at what he does, and he can literally. I watched him walk into a house, and they wanted to redo the tile on their entryway. It was literally a 6x4 square, and he said, "Oh, that's $4,000." And they were like,
That's crazy.
"Yes, of course." And they just wrote him a check. It's ridiculous.
No, and that's the part of trade. The part of mastery in the hand skills that I think we're really using too is just the artistic ability there. Because when you're amazing at what you do and everything you do is beautiful and perfect, you are a very valuable person.
Yeah,
and those are the kind of skills that nobody's like. Families used to have a family trade, right? Your dad was a carpenter, your grandpa was a carpenter,
That's
now you're a
where
carpenter.
last names came from.
Exactly, the name that carpenter is a last name.
Oh, and
as
the
an
business
example.
names as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember all of the business names like that?
Silverman, Goldstein. Yeah.
Dude, shut up. Returning to the point, like we also you can pass down that hard tangible skills, but like you can't really pass down like again in making spreadsheets, right? And that is a very temporary skill. You also do not want to have a
If
skill.
there's any job that we should just replace with robots, filling out
Spreadsheets.
a
Well,
spreadsheet.
no. Here's the thing too: is those kind of those middle level intellectual jobs are the jobs that are going to get replaced by algorithms and AI, right? Like the data entry jobs; those are going to disappear. And Max, I'm going to get to you in a second, but never in a million years are they going to be able to make a robot that runs pipes through your ceiling or runs wires or puts down tile. It's not going to happen.
And you know what's
It's not
crazy
gonna
about that? And I'll get to you in just one moment, Max.
1 moment.
Is that
Put your hand up so
What's
you get called on.
crazy is that they are trying to do that. Like that's what the things that they're trying to automate. Like
this
semi-truck drivers.
simple dexterity,
Oh,
you can't do it with a robot.
they're going to try.
Yeah, well, I know, but they're starting with the semi trucks, and like then they're going to move on from there. But I'm fairly certain that's what they're trying to automate. What they're not automating is what they can automate, which is the spreadsheets. Have you noticed? Am I on it?
This is
Back
what
to
I'm
you, Max.
saying.
Here,
Back to Max. We love to see it. I don't believe that they will ever get rid of those jobs, and the reason is because they need this group of people that they've raised to be able to go to work and feel special and feel as if they're actually accomplishing something within their lives. Because if they didn't have that realization beyond level 283 in World of Warcraft, then they'd probably just get incredibly upset and bad things would happen.
Of course, there's so much value to the global homo agenda of the middle IQ, spreadsheet worker guy. They need that guy.
Well, they also have, and
It's our guy.
I wish we had the facilities to like throw a video up. But have you guys seen those like adult daycare jobs that they have, where a girl will make a TikTok about how she works at LinkedIn and just show a day in her life?
Oh, yes.
And her day starts with like going to a meeting that doesn't actually happen and getting breakfast, and then like an hour later she's getting like her drink of the day, and then she's doing a little focus group and sitting in a relaxation room. Like they had,
And they're in
For all these tech jobs.
yeah,
tech giants.
it's like this woman's.
James Anderson White actually had a really good video on that.
No, I actually
love
talked
Josh
about that
Lacasse
video. Yeah.
posts videos about this all the time.
Also check out James Anderson White on YouTube. Phenomenal
Very
lad.
nice.
He doesn't have-
Phenomenal
he
lad.
doesn't-
He is our
he
guy.
doesn't have soap, but
Listen, man.
I 100%
He has better hair than
endorse,
Sam.
He does
I
have
agree, I agree.
I 100% endorse James Anderson White.
Oh yeah,
Splendid.
absolute splendid lad.
I've seen
Oi.
him with a swollen foot.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
cheeky cunt.
Was that?
You can't
Is that
say
the
that. You
first
can't
C-bomb?
say that
No, you
word,
can.
dude.
You can totally say
That's
that.
not our word. That's the Aussies.
You know, I was trying to get all
You just
the.
said it. Did you not
I'm
hear him
sorry,
say it?
Mom.
You know, I
I'm
was
so sorry.
I was trying to get all the red out of Colton's face before. Like now, I can't help you. I can't help you. It's there. Your face is blushed.
I'm
You
very
said the
flushed.
C word. Now
Awesome.
all of the women hate you.
Oh,
Don't you
of course.
hate that? Why can't you say that?
Back to a
without-
different point from earlier. Men who are trying to get over their video game addiction. You know, honestly, get yourself into
Strong segue from the C word guy.
get yourself into a nice, biblically grounded, masculine church. No female
Please.
pastors.
Lift
No
weights.
female pastors, lift weights.
lift
That's a big one.
weights.
If you don't have there's something very essential about having calluses on your hands, right, from
Yes.
some sort of work.
Get some
we all
accountability
have
from
calluses
some
on our
strong
hands.
men that will
Can we
hold you
prove this now?
accountable and push you to make you better.
I was talking to a family member about what he had to go through in terms of the interview process for becoming a firefighter. And what the guy said is just like, give me your hands, and just take your hands and you just feel to see if you had calluses, right? And that was just something like because if you've never worked hard in your life, you've never done anything physically, you can't be a firefighter,
Oh, yeah.
right? And that's something that I think the military, for example, is not being able to find people in so many trades these days. I know that they're trying to find good candidates, and yeah, they can get people in the door for an interview, but it's like, you've never done anything before. You've never worked before. You can't work here.
No.
Well, I don't know why you're looking at me. I work.
I was gonna say I was
work
gonna
hard.
pick up that point. No, Sam works very hard.
I work-
He was a very
We're all
driven
blue
guy.
collar
I think-
here
I think-
except for
Yeah.
Max.
After living with Sam for roughly a week, I'll give you the rundown.
This is gonna be
So
good.
roughly 6:30 wake up. Usually starts. My day starts at roughly 6:31. My alarm sets off at 6:30. Then Sam runs into my room, or at least bangs on the door and screams. Usually half dressed. Then we have half an hour where we cook the
Of
food.
wrestling. Oh,
Where's this going? What is the point of what you're saying?
he's giving the rundown.
The man works
Oh,
roughly
Did you take your
18
water
hours
back?
a day.
But you
We
didn't give me
do,
my
we do
water
the
back.
Christmas lights.
You could have just said that.
I'm being distracted. Then we come to the studio. The man doesn't stop. He's high energy. I think that this is it's certainly good for a young bachelor such as Sam, but certainly commendable for anyone to pick up and maybe work 15, 16-hour days like Sam does, and really understand what it means to work and earn your own money, as it were. Because a lot of these people, they go to these mega corporation jobs, they sit there and they don't do anything all day. They get out their markers and they draw circles and hold hands with their team, and then they go home and they've not achieved anything. There's no risk factor. They've not had to think, I need this next task done or I don't get fed tonight, which, to be fair, I guess you're not really in that position either. But where I'm going with this is that you kind of need to have that struggle in life in order to be pushed out of the comfort zone to actually, I cannot round this off, but
No, you're doing a phenomenal job.
There's a very real distinction between people who are driven and people who just like take orders, right? We know them as the gup-gups.
the gub-gubs.
Quite-
This is what I'm trying
quite
to say.
reality,
Thank you.
right?
Well,
Thank you.
if I can try to drive that point home for you, I think there's something very fundamental about the human spirit that dies when you know that your work is meaningless. Right, I believe like one of the tortures that they would do to you in concentration camps, this is actually a Jordan Peterson take, is they'd make you carry sandbags from one side of the camp to the other and then back. So they'd make you do serious hard labor, but you wouldn't get anything out of
They said at the entrance of the campus, work will set you free.
Yes, exactly. So and there's something just very truly hellish about hard work that amounts to nothing. And I think, frankly, regardless of how difficult your data spreadsheet job is, if you truly feel like you're not creating anything, if at the end of the day you can't see the fruits of your labor, I think that's going to take something from you.
Well,
Even think about like prisons, like in America, earlier in our history, the chain gang, they literally just chain 17 people together and have to go outside and break rocks up with pickaxes and junk. And that's like all they did.
Well, that's what builds character.
Totally.
Was there anything productive from that, or were they just breaking rocks?
I mean,
Because they used to,
Well, yeah,
have
it was
like
for the-
convicts,
for the
breaking
railroad.
rocks, but
convicts
I mean, like,
run
No,
like railroad tracks and all that too.
yeah, but I
they
mean,
broke
like,
the rocks for the railroad tracks.
Is that what that's for?
Mm-hmm.
But
you're looking at me like I think. I mean, why?
It sounds smart.
We're gonna run.
I'm trying to think of the reasons why to break rocks.
We've seen Shawshank Redemption, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
Have you?
Of course.
Good. Well, you haven't seen the Boondock Saints.
Huh?
You haven't seen the Boondock
I'm
Saints.
surprised.
You saw that for the first
Boondock
time.
Saints. Watch it.
Lock, stock.
I'm
and two
doing it
smoking
again,
barrels?
Dan. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Back to the hardworking.
Outrageous.
Well, the point.
Well, it concerns me every time I hear somebody's day isn't chock full like that.
I don't
concerns
understand how so many people have so much time and they're not doing anything with it. Like I don't have
Well,
I don't have enough time in my
doing
day.
anything with it, but they're doing something that's not. They believe it's productive. Like, and I was in the same way as well. Whenever I played World of Warcraft every day, is that I felt like I was being productive.
It quite literally hijacks your brain because, as I said in that video games video, your brain will rewire itself to become better at the things that you do because those are the things that, historically speaking, have kept you alive. So when you're getting these very strong dopamine hits for leveling up in World of Warcraft, your brain is going to wire itself to be good at World of Warcraft, which means that you're going to be bad at everything else. And that is a hobby that you cannot commit to because other hobbies don't do that. Not at that level.
But you can't necessarily you can't hammer the heads of these young dudes all that much because that is that fight or flight. That's what it. Whenever I said fight or flight, that's what I was saying. Is that whenever they're playing the video games, is that we don't have the fight or flight that we used to. Is like if there was a cheetah running or a silverback gorilla that was running after you, is that like that fight or flight instinct kicks in, and so like what they're seeking is that. I mean, in World of Warcraft is that if a level 57 rogue is rushing you, is that they have that. No, you really do. You in your mind you believe that this is a fight or flight, and you enjoy it and you cling to that. But the reality is that it's all a facade.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
the reason those things are successful because they do activate the part of your brain, and you're building those neural pathways that get stronger every single time because you are repeatedly using it.
Yeah, if we can jump in here, my good friend Gabe from the KGB show, subscribe to them, was talking about a big reason that so many guys probably return these video games is because if you have no other greater purpose in your life than these dopamine hits of like being level whatever something in a video game, like if that's your greatest purpose in life, that's where you're going to spend your time. If nothing else you do amounts to anything, that's where you're going to end up.
I do have one critique about that video. You could have gone a little further as far as those who are enabling this gamer lifestyle, right?
What do you mean?
And I'll share with you.
You could point the finger right back at some of the guys
Are
who
we
idolize the 14 and Husky gamers, right?
Are we saying parents here, or are we?
No. Well, I'm actually.
Let me get the narrative.
No, well, I'm actually segueing into the relationship that I have with Badan. Is that like whenever, what?
Huh?
Relationship can mean. Is this where we come out and tell them?
Max is being awkward, and stop. Just keep.
Max is being awkward. Just keep talking.
No, what I'm saying though is that these young men who play these video games is that usually they're surrounded by 100 other guys that are also playing those video games, and it's enabling each other. And whereas on the contrast of it is that whenever I talk to you, Badan, you're giving me a rundown of what you're doing throughout the week and how things have been going, and you're working here, and then in the evenings you're doing this, and then on the weekends you're doing.
Very often our conversations are me just getting done with work and you're working or something, and we're talking about what we're gonna get done the weekend.
Yeah, what we're looking to accomplish here. And so what I'm getting at is that the little tidbit that you may have added, and it's not a criticism, I'm just saying it's maybe something that is added to is this idea, the enabling that happens whenever young men start to do something, and then this person does that, and then like, oh, it's normal that I play video games for 40 hours a week. Whereas, it's so much more rewarding whenever you find somebody else who is not actually doing that, but then they're actually building things. Like you told me what that penis thing was.
Bro. To answer to context, we were analyzing
The penis.
We were analyzing Sam's plumbing, and he had something that Colton
Colton.
Some loose pipes even.
Incorrectly named, but it was a hammer arrestor, and what that is if you, especially if you have older plumbing, and you shut your water off very quickly, you will hear a knocking noise of your pipes, and what that does is that cuts that knocking noise.
Yeah. And you brought that up to me on the phone call, like, 2 days ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was. I didn't think that I'd be bringing it up during the live stream.
Yeah, me neither. I did not expect that.
I'm not surprised at
Especially
all.
given the name that it was given, which was whatever.
But what I'm saying is that we're enabling each other in a little bit of a different direction.
Well, of course,
in learning
you are the
knowledge.
average of the 10 people you spend the most time with.
I've heard
right?
5. Real,
absolutely real. So that's why you need to get in a community or at least a small group of people that are better than you at what you want to be better at, right? It's just like people who say if you want to be wealthy, you got to hang out with wealthy people to figure out how to be wealthy, right? And just apply that concept to everything else, right? If you want to be good at the gym, go gym with people who go gym. Insert whatever. If you want to know about water penises, you talk to Badan, okay? But
Colton, come on, man. Okay, the point being is that you should be able to look at your 5 closest friends and be able to say to yourself, if I am the sum of them, I'm doing all right. You should seriously, you need to have friends that are holding you accountable and holding you up to a higher standard. And what Sam was cueing into is if you don't have that and you just have a group of friends where all you do is play video games, because male friendships are based upon like joined activities. If that's all your friends do, you have a group of loser friends and you're going to be a loser. So you need to find some new friends. And part of that is actually just being a better person, because if you want to be in a group of friends where you want to be the average of them and you're not holding up to that, they're not going to want to be friends with you. Like if you're a loser, like how do you think we'd really get along as well if you'd call me like, yeah, man, I just did all this work. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm just like, yeah, I was watching Netflix today. I might play a Call of Duty later. Like, it just wouldn't work out. Are you gonna hop on Xbox tonight, dude? Dude, you gonna hop on Xbox?
Like I think that the coolest little meme is that meme where it's like, like waiting on my friend after he said I'll be right back to play this video game or whatever. And it's like that one little meme has so much like, because when I see that meme, I'm like, dude went out there, he got it. He never went back to play whatever, and now he's started a family, and now he's got a business going, and he's living it. It's like in that little meme right there, it's a joke. You're like, oh, that guy never came back, but like there's also something deeper in that, and it's like, be that guy. Be that guy that says like I'll be back in a minute, and then end up. Yeah, you got to find your way out, no matter how long it takes. And I remember when I was like 12, talking to my Minecraft associates on my Minecraft server, and be like talking about whether or not like we still gonna be playing Minecraft in 10 years. And I just remember saying, it's like, I hope I have something better to do in 10 years. And here we are 10 years later. I found something better to do, frankly. And that's, again, no matter how long it takes, you got to find that reason to just leave and then not come back. Speaking of the 10-year thing, like where do you see things in 10 years?
In what regards?
I mean,
business,
Max,
family.
Here I'm gonna cut in here. So everyone here is agreeing. I'm gonna be the dissenting voice here, and I'm gonna say you should stay playing video games, because if you have a life where you're not constantly playing Among Us or something like once a day, that sounds like a terrible life. That sounds awful.
We really should not have given him a microphone.
Yeah, let's take his microphone. Frankly, here's the point I made at the very end of my video, which is I said, you, my friend, have much more important things to be doing. And that is not a statement you want to disagree with. I don't think you want to fundamentally disagree with the fact that you have more important things to be doing than playing video games. Because if you agree to that, what you're basically saying is you are useless and you have literally nothing better to do. So might as well just waste your time away, throw it into the wind if you have nothing better to do. There is always something better to do. And there's also this kind of runs right into the workaholic, work 80 hours a week culture that we have in America, which is not necessarily the most productive thing to say, that you just need to be working as many hours as you can for Global Homo Corp, whatever. But I'm not saying you should never relax and you should never take a break and you should never enjoy recreational activities, but to spend hours every single day playing video games, it's like you have something better to do.
Well, it's not just you have something better to do. There's something, you have more potential than that. And we could go down the Jordan Peterson route of talking potential and whatnot and skirt around religion, or we could just go full throttle at this and say that you need to be a part of a church.
Well, you need to.
There needs to be some like when you bring up the people who are better than you at the things that you want to be good at, right? Colton, is that I'm like, my first immediate thought. It's interesting. I'm starting to get to the point where my first immediate thought is usually like some kind of selfish thing, like, well, I need to be a better business owner, right? But then I think it's the Holy Spirit sinks in. It's like, no. Like, what is it? What is that core? What are you truly looking for around you? Is somebody who is like Jesus, right? And Paul speaks about that too. As Paul says, to mirror me as I mirror Christ, right? So I think when it comes down to, and I'm actually pumped about speaking about this. Smoke is building a new website, and I'm really stoked. It's doing a great job. Shout out Smoke, Discord name. And can I say Owen? Owen, thank you. Is that on the website? It says politics, religion, and culture, I think. But what I'm saying here is that it's important that these guys join a church. Like, I think that is like first. I remember so many people I talk on to Discord with is that anytime they bring any kind of problem up, the first thing that I do is I say, "What's your relationship look like with Christ?" And then the second question is I say, "Are you going to church? Are you a part of a church? Not are you going to church, but are you a part of a church? Are you actually being involved with those who are inside, the elders, the deacons, and actually putting yourself in the position where you can find yourself at coffee speaking to a 50-something-year-old man that has actually lived life, right? Putting yourself in that kind of position. So I kind of stole the show. My bad.
No, you're absolutely right. Honestly,
I think
I was getting to this point a little earlier about finding a church that is truly biblical, and once you do, you need to have steadfast availability. You need to commit yourself to this community. You can't continue to do the window shopping, like, oh, if it doesn't work out in the end, I'm just going to leave. Right? No, you once you find something that's a good biblical church, you just need to commit yourself to it. Be available, be involved, give of your time, serve others in your community with your church, serve people in the church, and be just a rock amongst that community, because nobody does that anymore. You've lost that kind of gumption in people. You know, I was going to this church for a couple years, and then I just decided to go to this other church for a while. You know, and I've spoken with so many people they've been a part of 7 different churches, when really if they would find more worth in their experience if they were just stuck with one. It's like marriage. You have to commit yourself to it.
Max was bringing up people who go to church. You were talking about in England how like nobody goes to church in England.
It's old people that are scared of dying, essentially.
Yeah.
There's no community around church.
And then I started thinking about in America is that at one point I think there was, at least in my lifetime, 10, 15 years ago, where it seemed as though everybody went to church. I mean, this was 15, 20 years ago. I'd say probably 20 years ago. So I'm 30. So whenever I was 10 or so, I remember all the kids went to church.
Do you live in this area?
Yeah.
Well, we are in the Bible Belt, so there are more post-Christian like states and towns and things like that. Obviously,
I'm contrasting with where we're at today. Is that we're now not hardly a soul attends church today. I mean, it's sad.
Well, the statistics on that are misleading, in my personal opinion, meant to demoralize us, like you're experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a, I'm not going to remember this acronym, but for the people who actually usually participate in those studies, and it's like educated, like rich Democrats for the most part. So you like anytime I see one of those studies, I'm like, I didn't get that. I didn't see that study, right? It didn't come across my desk. So you guys got to wonder like what exactly is their sample size and what communities they're going to when they do those studies. But anyways,
I guess
alternatively, just use your intuition.
Well, I guess what I'm looking out at is that like the landscape of like young 30-year-old like folk.
More the problem that I find is that there are people who are going to church, but
25-year-olds.
They are misled as to what Christianity truly is, because you could name the 5 or 6 so mega churches that in America, but there's a million copies of churches like that. The mega church style is very popular today. That just reduces it down to, hey, if you feel emotionally charged right now, raise your hand and say this prayer, and you're good, right? When there's more to it than that, and that's how you get all these people that are Christians, but they're Democrats, and they think abortion up to a certain point is acceptable, and a myriad of other political issues, because everything is political now, that they don't have that cognitive dissonance going, hey, this is what the Bible says, because maybe they've never even read it, and then this is what I vote for and what I promote in my culture. And so I feel like there is a decent renaissance of good biblical teaching coming in America right now, but there is a lot of people who are misled.
Well, we discussed the I can't remember who I discussed it with. I discussed the kind of megachurch thing with people the other day, and essentially the issue boils down to the fact that nobody in these communities are accountable. There's how big are these megachurches? Like how many thousands?
So what you're
Massive.
talking about is like the hierarchies in these churches, 5,000, 10,000.
Yeah.
There's your number.
Yeah, 5 or 10,000. Okay, so you could not turn up for 3 months, right? No one's even going to notice. Maybe like the one guy that you sometimes sit next to will. But
especially if they're the come in 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Leave immediately after. They don't serve. They're not involved.
Yeah,
because people don't have a personal relationship with their pastor anymore. With that kind of church, you can't.
This church, even if you've got a church with, 500 members, and a handful of pastors, that's nowhere near enough. Like you need, 50. 100.
I think the best way to put it is that people treat it as a chore. I think that's the best way to put it.
Going to church is a chore?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, like checking the box. I would agree sometimes.
Yeah, well, because they want like feel good church. They don't want any responsibility.
Well, you have
they lack the
in a
conviction,
status quo type society that we live in, is that's entirely it.
Well, I know a guy, and to be fair, great guy, but decided to. I think he was a labourer actually. Did work on a church for penance or something, basically because he thought it would give him a better chance of getting into heaven. And it's like, well, you're not remotely religious. You don't believe in this. You don't practice this. What makes you think that repairing their roof is going to do anything for you? So,
yeah, there's a guy named Dale Partridge. He's got a whole organization about Relearn HQ. You can look him up on Instagram or whatever else. And he makes some very compelling arguments that are at least compelling to me about home church models, where you could have a church of 500 people, with one pastor, versus we have 12 home churches with 2 to 3 families and a pastor in each of these little communities, and one is effective to a degree, but the other is like invasive, is what he said, which is a great word because it really gets down into the bones of a community in a way that our traditional American churches cannot sometimes.
That's what I'm learning. I normally preface everything, but I didn't preface church and going to church. I'm learning so much more as of recently. It's actually taken me 8 years, probably more than 8 years, searching for a church. But I'm maybe even be speaking out of line in really anything that I'm saying is actually repeated from what I learned directly from my pastors, right? And then one thing that you brought up, Max, that's your real name.
Huh? We don't discuss the real name.
Okay. Well, Max, you're bringing up is that going into a church and then just being unnoticed, that's I think how I ended up at the church that I'm at now, is that the church that Preston and I go to is that it's like probably 80 people and like 10, 15 like elders, right? I wouldn't say it's that much. I'd say it's like 60, 10 or something. But the more that I'm learning about what the church is and what it is, dude, it was the craziest thing whenever he was, and Preston, I don't know if you were there for that sermon, but he was talking about how what Jesus Christ looks like, as in we don't worship an invisible God, but we worship a visible God.
Yeah, I
in
was
that.
there for that.
You were there for that?
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. This was heavy, but Dan, this is heavy, and it must
Hit
be
me.
noted before we move on from religion.
Oh, we don't even have to move on. Just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that well to preface is it 2 weeks prior to this is that he started saying that, like, if you're looking to speak to somebody, you know how they say normally come up to the front. He's been doing this thing where he says, like, turn to your neighbor, because he knows the church so well and has spoken to each individual and knows the people who are in that church, that he can say something like that and they can turn to a neighbor and speak to them and they can share the gospel with them. Anyway, what I'm saying though is that the best way to see Christ is in those who are a part of the church. Like, you can't get when you meet somebody and after 20 years you see all their faults and whatnot, but then you meet a church and then after 20 years you start to see Christ. That's what he was saying in essence. And I never thought of that, because I always thought that we worship a God that's invisible. I thought that it was like, you know what I mean? Like when you talk to somebody, or when you want to know Christ, is that you pray and you're in your word, but then like a physical manifestation. I never thought of those who are part of the church who preaches the gospel.
Well, when you talk to these people that really get it, I mean, they're not going to sugarcoat it for you or justify it like you will in your own head. They're going to give you the blunt, honest gospel. Yeah. Which is, the best thing that you can get, really.
So, I don't know. I guess I share that. I preface it, but I'm also sharing with brothers, I would say, in that I'm trying to figure it out too. Like, for 12 years I attended a Catholic church, and then for another 12 years I ran away from church entirely. And it was because I didn't really even know what church was. And then now for the past 6 years, it's the correct math, is that for the past 6 years I've been trying to find out what is the church. And the church is the body of Christ, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so, okay, then what does that look like? Like, what does brotherhood actually look like? And not only just in that church, but also amongst, between Preston and Max and I, is that like, what does it look like to actually live a spiritual life, as opposed to act as though you're living a spiritual life, as I think Jordan Peterson would say wrongly. Is that when he is asked that question, are you a Christian? Like, well, what do you mean by Christian? That's a terrible impression of Jordan Peterson.
No, I was just talking about this recently, and a very, like, a point that Jordan Peterson drives home is that there's a lot of things that you can kind of ignore and kind of create a like subjective reality for yourself, but what you can't ignore is pain, right? If you get punched in the face, you get punched in the face.
Oh, was that the video where he broke down crying?
I don't know if that was that video, but the point I want to make is what he misses, and I don't even know if he's doing this intentionally when he makes those statements where, like, do you believe in God? What do you mean do? What do you mean you? Where he like breaks it down word for word, is like is an actual true belief in God is very much like a punch in the face, in the sense that like it is something that is not ignored. You cannot ignore it. You cannot spin your little word salads around it. So he's saying exactly what he probably is trying to avoid saying by crafting that little nest of words there.
Yeah, he's grown a lot over the years as his fame and notoriety have grown. Because I know the bit you're talking about was like, well, it's a bold claim to say you believe in God. I remember that very distinctly, because it for him it came down to like, if you claim belief in God, then you ought to be acting a certain way, right? Which he's so intellectual and so cerebral about everything in his approach. He misses grace entirely, right? And at that point, which has been years ago now, when he said that, that was completely a works-based gospel, which is not the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? If you say you believe in God, you better be acting a certain way. Like, no, Well, yes, but no, right? You're supposed to become as you are, but you're not to stay as you are, because true regeneration through Christ, salvation through the gospel, your behaviors will change and what you desire will change, and the Holy Spirit will complete its work in you to bring you to full sanctification in Christ. That's the work of the Holy Spirit, right? And more recently, he went to the Bible Museum and he's learned about, the truth of the Bible, and he called it the precondition for all truth. He's getting closer, but I think his own IQ gets in the way of him really trying to even wrap his head around the idea of mercy and grace, which we can't comprehend, the mercy and grace of God, but he doesn't even want to acknowledge it at some points when he's trying to talk about Christianity.
Among their wisdom, they become fools.
No, seriously, the point is his brain is he's getting in his own, may just be getting in his own way, and that doesn't say that you should throw away Jordan Peterson full cloth.
No,
just for one issue.
Very good.
I do think that's probably the one issue that he receives the most legitimate. Obviously, he's gotten a lot of heat for a lot of different things, but that's the one point where I think people can levy some serious, real criticism. Is like, why out of all the biblical lectures he's done and how his deep understanding of the Bible and all of that, why is this a weird sticking point? Well,
interesting. So much of his lectures have focused on Old Testament, and he wants to relate everything to the themes and relate it back to Egyptian, mythology, and he focuses so much on the themes within the themes, Oh, and Jesus is really Horus, from Egypt. And it's like, no, bro, you're missing it. Go read the Gospels, my guy. Get out of the Old
That's
Testament.
paganism, my guy.
Right?
I will say, though, those lectures do give you a very good baseline understanding of those stories. Again, even when he goes off on, Egyptian mythology, directions, I still find that to be very interesting.
Well, they're incredibly insightful, especially if you've read the Bible. You do gain wisdom from that, right? But earthly wisdom is different from,
Well, I think it's. I was gonna say precisely, but I learned that word from Jordan Peterson.
Go ahead, bro. It's all right.
I'll do it anyway. But now I forgot what I was gonna say. I got it. Is it when he's sharing his? It's interesting. Whenever anybody is sharing truth, whenever somebody is sharing something that is truly from their life, whether it be somebody who is somebody who is not a Christian, or somebody who is even atheist, or someone who's Buddhist, or whatever religion or whatever they believe, is that when somebody shares a true story, is that I actually believe that you can see Christ working through that. And I haven't quite worked through it all that much, and there's no scripture I can point to in that, but that's why I started. Do we have time for one more plug? I'm not doing it. I started YouTube.
You're getting a thumbs up, I suppose.
I started a YouTube channel, the first podcast-esque was called My Testimony, where I sat down with people who were a part of my life, who were really influential in my life, like my childhood best friend, and a guy that I met down in Texas whenever I was serving during Hurricane Harvey or whatever. A guy who was my best friend, who is atheist. All these different sorts of people, and I would sit down and they would share their life with me, and it didn't matter who they claimed was Christ, but in the stories that they shared that were true, is that you could see Christ working through it. It was really interesting. So what I'm saying is that with Jordan Peterson, is that his lectures hit so hard, I think partly because he's an incredible storyteller. I would say he's not necessarily, he may be one of the greatest philosophers of our time, but he's certainly one of the best, and I say also with Joe Rogan and the guests that he has, is that these are the greatest storytellers of our time that we're listening to. And in those stories, you can see Christ. And it's and people don't know why that they are so driven to listen to like Joe Rogan episode after Joe Rogan episode. They listen to Jordan Peterson episodes like over and over. I was in that position. I mean, I listened to the Genesis Theory series for 3, 4, or 5 times each, right? But I think it's what it is because that in sharing stories of your life, your testimony is maybe not necessarily your testimony of where you where Christ met you and you found yourself at the foot of the cross, but it is it's that testimony that you can see Christ in. I don't care who you are. I don't care what religion or what you say. You can see that. You hear that. So I think that's in the point is that I think that's why Jordan Peterson, as well as Joe Rogan, are such moving figures into today's society. Is that we lack that truth. Well, we lack Christ. I mean, I don't.
Well, yeah, I think it goes back to this whole idea of we're so atomized from our own history. People don't remember anything that happened last week, let alone 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We have no sense of our ancestry, right? And so when you have someone like Jordan Peterson that hits home on these very overarching themes of family and the importance of religion, it's refreshing to people because they don't have that anywhere else. We're so disconnected from anything that came before us because we can only see what's right in front of us right now.
And I think that certainly kind of is a lot of the reason that we've lost this Christian tradition within America. I mean, what's the saying? It takes 60 years to rewrite history or something, where basically the implication is that you've gone through any generation of people that would have actually been in the situation and can, maybe it's like 80, 90 years, and could actually tell you what it was like then and what the situation actually was, to which the narrative can become whoever. What are you smiling?
Nothing.
You're doing fine, man. Keep going. Come on.
Okay. So I think that's kind of a lot of the reason that we've lost a lot of this, a lot of the meaning in at least in America when it comes to Christianity, because we've been consumed in this delayed or instant gratification world for the last 20 years or so, that no one's looking kind of back in time to see what we had and who we were. I don't think they care anymore. I get that was a bit of a segue.
Perception is what you're talking about.
Yeah, precisely.
That's why I have some respect for the Orthodox Church. Shout out to my Ortho bros, right?
Not gangs.
No, shout out to my Ortho bros. But they have such a rich history, and it plays into every service that they gather on the weekend. And they have the iconography of all the saints and of Jesus and Mary usually, and they have all their history, and they haven't forgotten it. And so there's this beauty in the wealth of history and ancestry there that is really appealing to a lot of people. That's why you have so many Ortho bros popping up these days, I feel like.
I mean, I was in Greece, and there's these churches that are legitimately over 1,000 years old, and I mean to see that is crazy, and they're all beautiful churches. So that is one thing.
This building won't be here in 20 years.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There is something truly magical about that, because for a very long time, I mean, there was cathedrals that were built back in the day, or like the men working on it knew that it would not be finished in their lifetime, right? And there, again, obviously you can have church anywhere, but there's something just so magical about all of that time and effort to just create so much beauty that you then conduct church in, versus, I mean, so many modern churches, especially in America, are just so ugly.
They look like Costco's.
They look just like shacks. They look like cheaply made shacks.
That's why I think, Max, you're gonna really well. You saw my church.
Yeah.
You saw it.
I mean,
it's like
how old was that?
It's an
over 100
old
years,
church.
right?
Yeah, that church has been around for I think over 100 years. It's like a little tiny Baptist church, like you'd like imagine a Baptist church to be, like set on a hill, and like
Yeah, and I think, Badan, you've talked about this before, but people used to build, architecture and structure for not just themselves but their future generations, their sons and their sons' sons. Like they had that in mind, whereas now we build, you know, modern glass and steel garbage and call it something impressive.
No one cares anymore, essentially.
Well, one thing I would love to, before I die, participate in, and I imagine you guys can understand this point. I would love to participate in some way in the building of like a massive like church or cathedral or something. And I don't mean design. I mean like I'll carry bags of sand around. Like I'll move. Where do you want the bricks? Like,
You'll do
like
the gub job.
I'll do the man. Like I'll just move stuff. I just want to help. Right. I'm not considered like, oh, actually I have an ideas on how we want to make the stained glass windows. I don't like. I'm stupid. In that regard at least. But like that's the kind of stuff. That's. You wake up every day knowing like you're doing work for Christ in that regard, and what you're going to make is going to live so much beyond you, which is why it's such an absolute it's so terrible when, you know, like the Notre Dame Cathedral caught fire, right? Is like again, those things are inevitable. Everything, you know, it all happens, but when you have so much energy and time and history built into something, and then, you know, somebody sets it on fire, that's a very sad thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, you guys should look up Will at the Renaissance of Men sometime, and he's been doing a little mini YouTube series about art and beauty and how that relates to us and how intrinsic it is to life itself. And he made a point, I'm probably going to butcher it, where he talks about life speaks to art in the same way that art speaks to life. That's why taping a banana to a white canvas means nothing, because it doesn't speak to anything about life. It's pointless. That's why so much modern art is so much garbage, right? But when something is truly beautiful, it speaks to something intrinsic in ourselves.
It speaks for itself. You don't need to justify why a beautiful painting or a beautiful building is beautiful. It just is.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously that overlaps then into, you know, personhood and the you know, wider society, where we justify ugly things and say that they're beautiful in order to escape the reality that actually for something to be objectively beautiful there needs to be, I suppose, some kind of desire behind the creation of it for it to, you know, I mean
it has to be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, precisely. Like these things, the people that make these bananas on, I mean, I don't know the artist personally, but I imagine there's some they're probably not Christian. They're probably not on the same end of the political spectrum as us. Probably very angry at the world. Got no passion, no desire to do, you know, anything really. And that obviously speaks to us through their art. So,
speaking of art, I gotta throw this out there: is that whoever does the conservative flyers, the Republican, I'll speak specifically Republican flyers for events, the Republican billboards, the Republican everything. It's terrible. It's absolutely. Are you with me on this, Badan?
I don't look at flyers.
I know you're...
Like every single flyer that I see that's like, oh, come see these conservative speakers, you know, come speak at these places.
They all look like they're designed by Benny Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know who Benny Johnson is, but yes.
He's a Twitter guy, I believe.
100%. And so I...
Imagine just being a Twitter guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think that we've lost that, is that you know, I mean, you're speaking of these, what comes to mind is whenever I'm mowing my church, is like, I make that church lawn look the best I can. I mean, like I apologize to all of my other clients, but like, I do too. No, I do. I try to make every yard look like the stripes are just dead on, but like, I think that there is something in beauty, is that it you know, and how do I say this? What I was thinking is like, how can I relay this over to Badan the plumber, as well as what's your name, Charlie?
Like that?
You just doxed my manual labor.
What?
Gosh.
What are you talking about?
To return to your point,
no, I'm saying that you were talking about like repairing your toilet at your house.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
No, I didn't say that.
You called me. You're talking about.
I didn't say that.
No, 2 weeks ago you were talking about repairing your toilet at your house, and I was like, oh, Dan, next thing you're gonna say you're gonna do fixing the air conditioner, because Mr. Badan, the HVAC guy, right?
If I can make a point, there is something about creativity that is very divine. It's like a divine essence, and God is, of course, the greatest creator ever. And I think any creative essence you have, any creative ability you have, is a direct gift from Him. And I think it's very telling to see how ugly things have become. Where I don't know if there's a single modern person. I shouldn't say that. There's probably very few modern people that are worthy of the divine inspiration that the creators of all these beautiful cathedrals and these beautiful pieces of music have been given. Like, you look at those structures and you're like, no modern person could do that, right? And it's truly a question, like, maybe we've moved so far away from God and we're so disconnected from Him that, like, we're not worthy of that kind of inspiration. Like, there's pieces of Christian music that I've heard where it's like there was angels in the studio, right? Or you look at these cathedrals and it's like that man was touched by something when he was designing this. There's no other way to explain it. Like, have you ever seen what is the ceiling that Michelangelo painted? The Sistine Chapel?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's literally like you
Have you seen
cannot.
it in
magnificent and it's
Yes, yeah.
massive.
Is it on a
and it's
person?
Oh, it's
so
yeah.
intricate.
It's
detailed and it's phenomenal.
you can't fathom how a human like a human just like me did that. There's
well,
no
the
way.
willpower just to do. I mean, like, even like the arm strength that he probably lacked because he didn't have, the gym, right?
He was probably stronger than all of us combined.
He's probably pretty swole.
Oh
honestly.
yeah,
Maybe he was full. But what I'm saying,
You know
speaking into
when
is, I'm just saying,
Michelangelo
like,
carved like David, he didn't use any tools. He just used his bare hands.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he bit the rock. He was like,
Oh.
No, yeah, but we really have no drive anymore. Our creative endeavors lead to very little.
Oh, yeah.
And like, the gay science believers want to be like, oh, aliens created the pyramids. And it's like, no. Freaking human will made the pyramids.
I mean,
we just have lost that.
I don't know if you see the same here, but certainly in the UK, we've got these churches that are hundreds of years old in basically every town you can go to. I mean, they suck now. They're just coffee mornings for old people. Very sad. But these were churches that were built by men who had no tools, and they would design entire towns around this one, church, and they would put everything into making it as beautiful as they possibly could, and no one does that anymore.
No car-centric architecture?
Yeah, what's going on there?
No.
You didn't build it around a shopping mall with a giant
That's
parking
the
structure?
weirdest
Where's the parking lot?
That's the weirdest thing I've observed in the US. I'm going to go on the car rant now, but you cannot go anywhere without, like, I was in a hotel last week.
No, we agree with you, so
in
you don't need to go there.
Oh, yeah.
Splendid. There was like, what is it they call it? Clover, where it goes like, woo.
4-leaf clover on the highways
Yeah,
where you do the
right.
interchanges. Yeah.
I wanted to cross
It's an
that
interchange,
to
yeah.
go to the GUN store. I don't know if I can say that. I probably can, right? 1984.
Should I Now's the time.
Don't pull out the strap dog, as the kids say. But
The paintball shop.
Jamal, put the knife
I just wanted to go to the paintball shop, and I wanted to admire the paintball guns that you people made, and maybe shoot some of them with
the wireless
really big
air,
paintballs.
The wireless hole punchers. Those
Yeah. The staple guns.
That's all they're for.
I did it.
Yeah.
But I was unable to do that. I was unable to cross the road unless I walked about a mile this way.
It wasn't a road, it was a highway.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I can see it. It's less than 100 meters from me. Like
meters. There's no meters here, pal.
110
What
yards.
is a kilometer?
You're the wrong side of the pond.
110 yards for you crazy cats. But you use miles, but not meters.
Yeah, don't you? No,
Miles
but you
are
guys
not-
don't use miles.
Oh, we use miles, we use kilometers, we use meters, everything.
Why do you use miles but not
Miles is
No.
Yeah.
He thinks you're talking about music. He's thinking Miles Davis.
What?
Oh.
You're crazy. Anyway, my point. You needed
silly
to walk like
limey.
a mile down the road this way, cross the road, and then head back up a mile in order to.
I'm trying so hard to
Get to
take you
this.
seriously right now. It's not working.
Bro, I told you, we already agree with you.
Okay,
We're gonna
okay.
send you a video on Strodes, and
Oh yeah, no,
it's gonna
we'll
have
get you.
some great beef footage of
not
Kansas
just
City.
not just bikes. YouTube channel, phenomenal,
Very good,
phenomenal
very
content.
good. Yes.
Splendid. Okay, we agree.
You know the point I wanted to make. Have you ever seen that meme where it's like built by illiterates in the 16th century in like this very beautiful like stone
This
house,
amazing church,
right? And then it's built by built by a PhD holder, and just like
soy jacks.
just the most atrocious looking thing you've ever seen.
Well, it goes back to that feminized like conception of intelligence. Like, oh, they couldn't read, so they weren't very smart. It's
They didn't need to read.
They didn't need to read.
They didn't need to read. They memorized their stories. They memorized everything. It just was in the dome. They didn't need to write anything down. You need to write something down because you're stupid.
Literally the case.
Real.
Never write anything down.
Exactly.
Never.
Return to tradition. Memorize everything. Write nothing down.
You can't remember. It's obviously not important enough to remember.
I think that it's funny. It's funny you say that. I think that's part of it too. Is that they took cursive out of schools?
Yeah, I've heard.
Like that is like the first creativity that you have the opportunity to.
Because you create your own dialect of written English. In a way. Like when I was reading your journal earlier, and you put like a little swoop on the T's.
Oh yeah.
Just throw that out there
J's
real
and the
quick.
T's.
Well, that was an
the
extra-
Reading
L's.
Sam's diary.
That was an extra layer of artism of artistic whatever that you don't put in regular handwriting. And I mean, I learned. Did you guys learn cursive in school? Did you learn cursive?
We live in a
That's
society
homeschool, so
in the UK.
We had like cursive unit in 3rd grade. And I learned how to write my name, and that was basically
Well,
it.
that's legitimately like outside of like Legos and such, but like on pen to pad, like that's the first place that you should be. I think
I used to draw stick figures fighting each other.
Well, so it's like ordered creativity, right? It's ordered creativity. Is that like when you make a J, it has to. I mean, it's objective. You have to make it look like a J.
Yeah.
But then beyond that is that then you can really make it your J. And it's actually interesting. Have you seen like those court file deals? That am I doing it again? I'm doing it again.
No, I don't even know what you're doing. Just
I don't
keep
know.
talking.
When you look at me, and
I heard you say Lego, so we can go on to Lego.
You think
We're not talking about
I'm
Lego.
giving Colton I'm getting a little of this guy look.
He's giving the old office gym look.
Yeah, the office sideways glance they use to fill in for the lack of
Humor.
No, the lack of laugh track actually.
Laugh track?
No, but that was
Love you, Leo.
Leo. I don't know if you'd like that. You're a gentleman and a scholar, sir. But yeah, no, they use that sideways glance to fill in for the consensus emotional feel.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
listen. You know, there's a word for that. It's called the third wall.
Sam, give it up. I swear.
What?
It doesn't exist.
What's the time?
Preston was gonna say how he looked it up and third wall.
Wait, you never told me how fast
about
grizzly
40
bears
miles
can
an hour.
run. 40?
I bet it is.
You bet.
It's probably between 30 and 40.
a cheetah or
No, grizzly bear.
Grizzly bear.
Grizzly, that
That's
fast.
They
terrifying.
can run fast. They can climb trees. They can swim.
We need
Grizzly
the
bears, I
answer,
think, a
Preston.
little too big for trees.
Preston, we
Pretty
need
sure
the
they can
answer.
still climb them. Though.
I'll just
Okay,
Google.
all right. You listen here, guys. You guys are you're going back and forth. I'm kind of like 100% brain power is going to the
This is
fore,
fine.
so
I will
just do your own
Google
thing.
it. I'll Google it now. We'll all be impressed.
sometimes he gets lippy, and all you have to
He's getting a
do is
little
just
lippy.
remind him that you're not gonna get any puppy chow tonight.
No gub grub for
no
you,
gub,
sir.
grub.
Where were we?
35 miles an hour.
Did I say it was between 30 and 40? Wow, look at that.
I said it was 40, which is basically correct.
I said 30, you said 40. We met in the
You
middle.
put-
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty scary because that thing probably weighs like 2 tons. That's my phone.
Hey,
sorry.
but Dan, how about you close us out here?
You want to close it out?
Can we
mean-
plug the soap and everything first?
I already plugged the soap. You want me to plug it again?
Were you not there?
Everybody gets soap, by the way. Everybody take one home.
Technical,
Oh, I get a soap?
You get a soap.
Let's go.
Disclaimer on the soap. Technical
drop it.
Query. Am I allowed to eat the soap?
If it was up to me, I would say.
Would you have to call poison control? Or let's not make the
If
line
he
eat the soap.
actively
There's no
eats it
vitamin
himself,
C in
you
there,
know.
sir. It's not going to work for you.
Hey, Max, you want to know something? There was someone in the chat earlier that actually wants you to take a bite of the soap. So I think
that makes
Oh, he's making that up. Let's get a fact checked on that, please.
it's true. It's true. I promise.
Wait,
you.
else
here's
look
a
at the
question.
chat.
Here's a question. Here's a
Who said
question.
it? If you give me the name of the
Yeah, I
person,
forgot we were
I'll
live.
decide
I just,
whether I do or
just
not.
kept talking. Mr. Preston, is there any interaction from the chat that needs to be addressed? whatsoever.
Oh no, the chat has been just absolutely just ridiculous, and
Splendid.
yeah, there's people calling Max black. They're saying that he's actually black and he's wearing white face
They know.
right now.
They know.
Let's see.
Well, here, I'm going to throw
Who
that
told me
out
to eat
there.
the soap?
Dude, I actually...
we go to the comments at the end of the show?
I
Someone who I
completely
respect.
forgot, because we were getting so into the conversation, completely forgot we had like a live audience or whatever. Who cares?
Right.
That people are going to watch this. Just let's put that out there. Does anyone want to pitch in or ask any questions or whatever?
I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up? That sounds like a long hesitation for someone who had
why are
a
you turning up
preloaded
with
question.
Samuel?
okay, yeah, it was Uncle Samuel. He wants you to eat the soap as well as Juanito Bandito now.
Eat the soap.
No, not eating the soap.
I mean, will he die? Do you have to take him to the
Maybe.
hospital?
Maybe.
Okay, I don't want to be a part of that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I've got health insurance, so I don't know if they'll cover.
Yeah, but you're on the wrong side of the pond, Limey.
No, over here. But I don't know if they'll cover me on tape eating soap.
Yeah.
Delete the evidence.
I don't see any more.
Listen. It is as simple as this. If you cannot eat the soap, then you can't rub it on your body. So, in order
Okay.
to prove that the soap is healthy, he's going to eat the soap. Max, you have the floor.
Why don't you just lick it and then just like show how good it works?
Because
You know?
ingesting something is different than putting it on your skin. I understand
Yeah.
it gets right into the blood system. It's the same thing, but it has to go through some other processes to get the blood this way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I'm a
Yeah, that's actually a
scientist.
very important point that Colton hit on.
oh, yeah.
Your skin is a sponge,
Your skin
more or
is
less.
the largest organ on your body.
Yes. So the things in your skin is covered with a bunch of little holes, a bunch of tiny little holes.
They're called pores.
They're called pores, yes. And the things you put in your body or on your body are going to affect your health. A very important point, and no one talks about this enough, and I haven't made a point to do it yet. Never, ever, ever use any shampoo that has those micro beads in it. Those are literally pieces of plastic, and they will get lodged in your pores. Head and Shoulders, all of that. If you have like dandruff issues, there's like scalp care methods you can use. Don't just scrub them off with literally pieces of plastic that are going to lodge themselves in your
I
skin.
haven't
Literally go
washed-
look up Carnivore Aurelius and just learn how
Real.
to not have awful shampoo, toxic nonsense all over your body.
The only body wash I have used is Sam Daly soap. That's number one. Number two is
Did you
actually
not wash before Sam Daly show? So
No, I don't. Today was a working day. You know that. Right?
True.
But number two is that I actually haven't washed my hair in like 3 weeks.
You haven't put any shampoo or conditioner or
Nothing.
anything in it? Yeah.
Nothing.
No, we
Nothing.
become reliant on them because
You got natural oils in there.
well, yeah, shampoo and conditioner is this weird back and forth process of taking and adding oil and moisture from your hair, right?
Yeah.
So what happens for the average person is they stop using shampoo and then they start having overproduction of oil, which is the scalp oil that you're producing, because every single night you're putting shampoo and you're stripping your hair of that oil, which is why even if you do use shampoo twice a week, maybe max.
So your head is like, I need oil. I need oil.
Yeah, no, because your body's going to be overproducing the oil to do that, because you're stripping it away every single night.
I know we live in modern society, but like think about this:
Very
like
true.
people didn't have soap for most of human existence, right? And somehow they all had hair.
Yeah.
So you might need to reconsider the usefulness of shampoo at all. I very rarely wash my hair. Unless something like gross gets in it, like I'm actively not washing it.
No,
Well,
it's even better if there's like a dead rat that gets in your hair. Like,
Let it
use
marinate.
Yeah, like if there's a little bit of blood that gets whatever.
Yeah, this is awesome. Let's talk about our hygiene habits.
Preston, we
Hey,
got anything
Preston.
from the live chat?
Anything in the live chat.
No,
Something.
we'll do a Max
there's nothing
AMA.
here. There's
Max
nothing
AMA.
here.
How do you guys
Any
are the
questions you guys
No,
have?
there's nothing here, guys.
Come on, someone,
We're
anyone.
just gonna give it another.
All right, you want to
60
wrap this up?
seconds. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap it up. Do you want me to trade and then I will close out?
You want to?
Oh, could I
why
close
not?
out?
But, yeah, I butchered the intro. Might as well nail
Hey,
the
it's all good.
outro.
Let's nail the outro. All right, let's return.
Return.
Go ahead and roll the teleprompter, Preston. Roll the teleprompter.
There isn't any of that.
Oh, there isn't a teleprompter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you tuning in. If you want to follow Badan, you can go to his YouTube channel.
Go to
at-
Nathaniel Abbot on YouTube, or just type in Badanlol, BADANLOL. You can do that on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, or you can go to badanlol.com. to my website if you want to support me and get exclusive content, and soon very more things. We're putting a lot of resources into it. But yeah, most importantly, check out the YouTube channel and watch my videos.
And then Max, he's got himself a. You don't do social media, do you?
No.
Okay.
Well,
all
I'm on Discord. I guess you could put out the 18 to 25 request again.
What was that?
Single ladies, 18 to 25.
yeah,
Max is looking for a suitor.
Thank you, Colton. Colton, your Instagram, I know, is pretty
No.
No.
Shut up.
No. Colton's dark. Colton's my top guy. We're keeping it like that.
Okay, well,
I've been told in chat that I look British.
I've been told in chat.
I don't see it.
I don't get this. You look.
Yeah, I
British
don't hear it
thing,
either.
Because I look like everyone else. I mean, I'm slightly more handsome, but
We're supposed to be closing, so
okay.
could you just cool it just for a second? We're closing here. There's people who are waiting for us to say goodbye.
They want to hear me sound.
Hey, it's getting late. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, all right. So, Sam Daily Show, check it out, samdailyshow.com. We also have people who are writing articles. You can get your news and culture and such from there. If you have Instagram or TikTok or any of that, we're on there as well. I'm not on there. If you send a message, it's most likely not going to get to me. However, if you leave a comment on the video, I will most certainly see that, and I will most certainly reply to that. Thank you for tuning in. You have a wonderful night.
Pip, pip, cheerio.
Pip, pip, cheerio.